A topic I came up with myself was life lessons that I learned as a student athlete. I have dozens of people that I know that throughout their childhood, they never really played sports, maybe picked it up for a little bit, and never really got into the team building aspect or a competitive scene. I have a lot of friends that instead of that, they maybe got into maybe music, an instrument, something like that. They got into like volunteering. And so, if you are one of those people that got into that, I would actually love to hear about some life lessons you learned about that in the comments because when I was growing up, I actually never played an instrument or did any orchestra or anything like that. Um, and so I think there's a lot of valuable life lessons that I missed out on through that. And so that'd be very nice to actually hear about. But I want to speak on the flip side as an athlete. And there's a lot of things that I learned when I was a student athlete that I still carry to this day, and I carry them through every second of my life. Um, so overall, I think one of the best life lessons I learned was when I was a junior in high school, and I had just made the varsity ice hockey team. I was a bench player, obviously, because I had just made the team. I was kind of getting adjusted, if you will, and I played defense my whole life. And when I got on that team, the coach actually wanted me to play center, and I'd never played center before, and I had to kind of not only adjust to playing at the varsity speed, but I also had to adjust to the other side of the game, and I had to go from an offensive perspective. And so, just me trying to adapt to that, it taught me a lot about how to learn things quickly. And I not only would watch YouTube videos on how to do things, but I also went to some of the seniors on the team for help and a lot of people that were better than me. I think being humble enough to ask people who are better than you how to do certain things is a very important skill. And in my current life, I ask people that I know, like, how do you do XYZ on this physics homework? How do you, manage your time with your girlfriend and school and work, stuff like that. And that was a really, really valuable year for me, not only for that, but also a moment in that season that I still think about a lot. So, like I said, I played defense my whole life, but got switched to forward, center. And when I switched to center, a lot of our defensive players got hurt or were traveling, and we had a game. And so my coach actually allowed me to play defense for that game. And in my mind, I was thinking, I cannot fuck this up. I really, really want to play defense this year and next year. I want to prove that I can do this, and I want to earn my spot on the starting six defense, right? And then during the game, the puck came to me, and I started overthinking and panicking. I was like, "Oh my god, I have to make the right play right here. This is my opportunity to prove that I can earn a spot on that starting six." And so, in thinking that, instead of just staying relaxed and just doing what I could always do in practices or before when there wasn't that much pressure, um, I panicked and I actually turned the puck over. And so when I did that, took my stick, I slammed it against the boards, and I just looked down and shook my head. And I was not really in the game, but I was in my own emotions. And in doing that, as I was shaking my head, the puck actually came to me and kind of just slipped right past me. And I had to hustle back down to go grab it. And I likely missed an opportunity to have another chance at making that right pass or maybe making the right move to get another player open. Um, And instead of that, we had to come all the way back and get another breakout going. And so when I went back to the bench, my coach looked me in the eye and he said, "You know what you did wrong there?" I said, "Yes, coach." And he said, "I said you turned the puck over, which I'm not mad about, but what did you do after that play?" And I said, "I slammed my stick. That's my bad." He said, "Yeah. So don't do that. I'm okay with you making mistakes. I didn't bring you onto this defense to be perfect, but you can't do that." I said, "Yes, coach," and I sat back on the bench. And so that was for me in the moment. That was just a very shallow lesson to stay in the game until you hear the whistle, and then go back to the bench and think about what you did wrong, and don't think about what you did wrong while you're in the game. And I think what I didn't see in that moment was that there was a bigger life lesson that I could have taken away in that moment, or maybe when I got back home. And instead, it took me a couple of years to see it that way. And in my current state, um, whenever I'm acting out my emotions in maybe rage, or I'm letting them distract me from what I need to do, I always think back to that message that my coach said. And I think it was such a powerful message that even today, as a sophomore, as I just finished my sophomore year of college, just just the basically 4 years since that moment, I still remember it so vividly, and I remember how powerful that was, because I realized that even to this day, I make mistakes. Metaphorically, I turn the puck over sometimes in my life, and those obviously are mistakes, which are okay for me to make, like my coach said. But the bigger mistake in that is getting mad that I made a mistake, and in doing so, missing an opportunity to make up for it, right? And so oftentimes I'll be doing a practice exam for a final, and I will maybe fail it, get like a 50%, 60%, and I'll just like slam my fist. I'll be like, "Fuck," right? And then when I'm doing the next practice test, I'm not even thinking like what could I have done better, and then I don't move forward with it. That kind of rage kind of stays in my mind, and it makes me miss opportunities to study more efficiently. And so every time I do something like that, I always think back to that conversation I had on the bench. And I think uh, it was also very powerful because recently I've started uh, trying to get into Catholicism, and it's very parallel in the fact that um, I'm forgiven for mistakes that I make, and I'm accepted because I make these mistakes, and then I, as long as I'm moving forward from those mistakes, I'll be okay. And my coach, obviously, he knew that I had been working on becoming a better center for the team, and he put me on defense after several months of never touching defense. And he already knew that I was not one of the starting defense, so he didn't expect me to play perfect in that game, and I didn't see it that way. And similarly, um, Jesus didn't expect me to be as perfect of a child of God as he was, right? But he still sacrificed himself to allow me to move forward and allow me to, I guess, start on the ice like I did. And I never would have seen it that way in the moment when I was sitting on the bench. And I probably never would have seen it that way for a long time had I not tried to invest in Catholicism. So I think this was actually a longer video than I thought it was going to be. I kind of thought I was going to talk about more stuff, but I'm really excited that I was able to share that story. I think that's a very important life lesson. And like I said, if you've experienced something similar in maybe music or you're volunteering or just any extracurricular that you've ever done, I would love to hear about it. And I hope to talk to you guys tomorrow.